It turns out that I remember more about the zone of contamination than I realize. We found a cave. I would argue not just a cave, but like the cave. We have a deer cooking nearby, and predators are largely absent from the area. What could go wrong? Famous last words. I know. Hello, Legion. This is Hadrian. Thank you for being here. Let's play some more of the Long Dark in our Against All Odds series, where like I said, I found a cave. I'm using torches, but I don't really have to. I've got a lantern. All right, that's the exit. Where's the way into the cave? There it is. It was right there and just turned a little bit too far. Now, it doesn't stay icy like this forever. Yeah, there's some coal here, which is perfect. I can use this to head back out to the fire and keep it going. Also, just warm the fire back up, which is nice. I'm going to go a little bit farther. Oh, look, there's a marine flare. Very nice. This cave is absolutely treacherous. It's one of the largest caves that I've been in the game, and we got seriously lost in it playing on lower difficulty. So if I were to get seriously lost in it on higher difficulty, well, I'm not optimistic for how that would go. So we're going to try to avoid that particular outcome. What I'm going to do instead is head out this way. I believe the exit will be right there. Perfect. So that's not a ton of coal. I was hoping for a little bit more. But let me go ahead, just for the sake of conserving lantern oil, I'm going to go ahead and keep the torch chaining going. And we're going to meander toward our fire again, now that we've warmed up a bit. There are some cattails out here, which is great. I'm not going to pick them just yet, but I do want to be mindful of the fact that since I just stepped inside and then came back outside, the game might have decided to mess with me a little bit in terms of predator spawn. So we're going to be mindful of that. I mean, it would be kind of a glitch if it did, but that's just the way that my brain thinks when I'm in a situation like this. I've just arrived in one of the higher difficulty zones in the game. Now, there is a lot of space here to be explored. There's a lot of shelter that you can take, but that doesn't mean that this is not a tough zone to survive in. It absolutely is. Now, where the heck is my fire? All right, we're going to chain one more torch. This is actually our last torch. So in a way, this is nice. We're getting rid of a little bit of excess weight. There's my fire. The weather's actually pretty good, but I'm not counting on it to stay that way at all. We just need to hang out with this kill a little while longer. Maybe take this meat back to the cave. All right, so this is... I'm going to go ahead and extinguish this torch. Got plenty of time left on the fire. We're going to add some more. Grab this venison. Put it on the ground. Now, I do not have any more on me, but there's plenty more on the deer. And the fire's warm enough. So we'll take 2 steaks worth instead of 1. Hopefully the weather doesn't change too rapidly here. Okay, and while those are cooking, we will do the same with another couple of steaks. Just 18 minutes. The nice thing about there being no predators nearby is I can hopefully grab all of this meat. Yeah, let me go ahead and just skip the last of it. I can hopefully grab all of the meat and just take it back to the cave with me without wondering about whether or not I'm going to get jumped by anything on the way. So that'd be a good spot to stash all of that. And I might not even put it in the cave. I might drop it outside the cave, but still. Okay, there's that. I'm going to go ahead and pick these up. I think I will go ahead and eat some, just for the sake of Keeping that meter topped off. Okay, we're going to cook both of those. Drop those on the ground just for the sake of not holding too much meat when I don't need to. I really don't see any wolves nearby, and the cave is back that way. So this is nice. I'm liking this a lot. We have plenty of water. I'm going to drink some just to keep that meter topped off. We only have the one cattail. Oh wait, didn't even need to do that because I'm pretty full as is. Okay, well, I don't want to read right now. So I guess we're just going to pass the time on these. Drop those on the ground. Last two. One of them will not take quite as long to cook because it was a smaller steak. And this fire will have lasted me the exact amount of time I needed it to. Now, the really nice thing about this is that we have the opportunity to go into the cave, get lots of rest, recover some condition, because our condition is not great. And we have something to eat while we're doing that. So that is a huge blessing. Let's go ahead and pass time on this. Okay, I'm going to drop these momentarily, but let's grab the cooking pot, the skillet. We'll do a little bit of water. And that should leave us with about half a gallon-ish. More than half a gallon, perfect. All right, so
I'm not sure I can carry much more.
This is where I'm a little bit nervous about attracting attention. We're going to drop that animal fat, don't need it. And now we're just going to grab a few torches off the fire. Not too many. Hopefully the next one will be similarly good as that one. Nope. All right, let's do one more. Okay, fine. We'll take it. All right, now we're moving pretty slow. If I need to, I can leave decoys. I have two. Probably more than two, to be honest. One of the kind of little-known realities of the scent meter is that the scent meter has those three markings, right? But the actual value that the game works with is more finely divided than just 1, 2, or 3. So you can have a little bit of a scent that you're giving off when you don't even have one full bar. You can have 2 bars, but actually have closer to, or getting close to 3. So it will round up, I believe. Or it might just round down. I don't know exactly how it rounds. All I know is that you can sometimes attract attention from wildlife nearby, just from the meat that you're carrying.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
Even if you don't appear to have anything on you. Yeah, there are no wolves nearby, so I'm feeling pretty safe. Even if you don't appear to have a scent that you're giving off, is what I mean to say. So the meter is useful, but don't trust it to a fault. It should be questioned. I'm going to grab a few sticks on the way, and I will probably just set the meat down at the cave entrance as soon as I get there. And then we can explore the cave. We also have lots of cattails in the area, so food-wise, we're in a really good position. There's a bunny. Yeah, really good position. We've got bunnies right outside the cave. We've got cattails right outside the cave. We have deer meat for days, which I'm going to set right here. And now we're going to chain some torches. Perfect. All right, is that all of the meat? Yes, it is. And just for the sake of topping it off, let's go ahead and eat this. Still 171 calories worth. I'll go ahead and grab another one to take it to the cave with me. And now we're going to go in here. We'll look around for a bit because I need to burn some energy before I sleep. Leave zone of contamination. No, we're not going to leave the zone of contamination. But we are going to see what else we can find in this cave. I mean, we already found a couple of pieces of coal, and we found a marine flare. So there's stuff to be found in here. I don't know if there's going to be anything like that I'm super happy to find. Oh, nice. There's some firewood right there. So maybe there will be firewood and another marine flare.
Come in handy.
Very nice. So yeah, I don't really know, but this would be a good way to warm back up. I do have my bedroll. Did I pick up the skillet? Yes, I did. Good way to warm back up and recover some condition before we do anything else in the ZOC. All right, I'm going to go up first. I'm going to try to pay attention to changes in gradation. So if I start descending down into the earth, I want to try and explore the cave top to bottom, because this is, in addition to being one of the largest caves, it's also one of the most, it's one of the caves with the most verticality. Like, it has so much. Oh, nice. Ketchup chips. Because Canada. And there's a bedroll here. Wait a minute. Is that where I just came in? I guess it is, yeah. Interesting. Alright, I'll try to keep track of that. I know there's a path up here to the left that I can check instead. Yep, still going upward. So this might be the part that heads towards Sundered Pass, maybe. I don't actually want to go to Sundered Pass yet, but this cave, as far as I know, links to the other two far territories, if we can call them that. Well, it is the far territory overall, but the 3 zones could be called the far territories, if you wanted to take a little bit of creative license, which I do. Okay, I remember being on this ledge before. Interesting. So there's... I don't remember that, though. Ooh. I think I see an exit there. I'm going to go over there and see what I can find. I think I see a cave mouth of some kind, so we will go over there and see what we can find. We are almost at the point where we can sleep for 6 hours. I want to try, honestly, and... we're going to wear Jennifer out in this particular episode, because I would like her to have as much opportunity for sleep as possible, given how low her health is. What I would really hate is if there was any kind of predator in this cave. That would be less than ideal. Interesting. So here's a backpack and a campfire. We'll check the backpack. Nothing. And we will continue up this way. Does this go anywhere? Oh, it doesn't go anywhere. Interesting. So wait a minute. Oh, hold on. Okay, so there's this pathway here. Okay, it looks like that was not an actual exit. It's probably designed to look like an exit to lure you that way, but it's not an exit. It's just a hole in the ceiling of the cave, letting some moonlight in. Oh, nice. Got some bioluminescence going here. You can't help but wonder if including that in the game was, at least in part, Long Dark's subtle nod of respect and not really collaboration, but just nod of respect to their long-time early access rival, I suppose. They weren't really rival games, but like they were in early access, words, holy crap, at the same time. And that's Subnautica. So all the bioluminescent stuff in some ways could be a nod to that. I do not remember this, but what I do know is that we are climbing. We're gaining in this cave. We're higher than we were when we came in. I'm hoping not to get too turned around. Yep, still gaining altitude. Thankfully we have some flares, but you can see why this cave would be a problem if you didn't come in prepared to explore it. Like, I have a good amount of lantern fuel. I have torches. I have flares. I even have matches if I get desperate. Alright, this torch is not going to last much longer. But you wouldn't want to be doing the amount of moving around in this cave that I'm doing right now if you didn't have all that. Especially if you were playing on Interloper or a Interloper adjacent difficulty. Now, I hear water, which is good, but also implies there might be a waterfall coming up here. So we'll find out. I'm going to go away from the water for a moment. Yeah, this cave is insane. Okay. We are going to, unfortunately, need to bust out the lantern. Now, we actually don't have a ton of lantern fuel either. I thought it was more full than that. So what I may do at this point, since I've done a fair amount of exploring, it might make the most sense to go ahead and turn back and try to go the way that I came. I'm going to look this way a little bit farther because I want to see what's going on with that water that I hear. See if I can pick up on anything. Oh yeah, this is absolutely Sundered Pass. This might even be an exit. Look, oh yeah. Yeah, for sure, this is Sundered Pass. Called it. And there's a climbing rope. Alright, cool. Well, I'm not doing that. Amazing. You can tell just because this is the kind of thing with the icy sort of waterfalls and icy cliff faces. That's something you really only see in Sundered Pass. Really nice touch. So I do kind of want to explore the other direction a little bit. By the time I get back down to the entrance of the cave, I'm going to pick that up for the stick. By the time I get back down to the zone of contamination side of the cave, I should be tired enough to warrant a nice long sleep. All right, so there's the bridge that we took. Part of me is tempted to use a flare for some of this trip, and as a matter of fact, that's what I'm going to do. It could be a little disorienting, but here's the thing. I would rather use the flare because it's just a one-off light source than burn through all of the rest of my current lamp oil. I mean, you could certainly say that it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But when push comes to shove, I would always prefer to have a little bit of lantern oil left than one flare left. Even though they're very close in value. So I'm going to burn a flare instead. That drop right there seems fatal. If I were to step off the edge, probably wouldn't go too well. Okay, so this is gonna be interesting. I do remember most of the kind of turns that I took, and thankfully there are a lot of dead ends. Yeah, so we're gonna go right here. And this is gonna lead us back to that bridge. We picked up some coal along the way, which is nice. Oh, there's some more coal. And we still have that firewood that we picked up as well, so we're pretty weighed down. Here's the bridge, I think. No, not yet, but it's coming up. Alright, now I believe I came this way. Yeah, I remember walking out and having the ledge on my right. And here's another torch to prove that I am on the right track. That's the handy thing also about using torches in situations like this. Because when you're retracing steps, if all of a sudden the torches that you were using disappear from your path, you know you're probably not going the right way. Alright, so I think I've got a fork coming up here. I need to be careful. Still have half the flare. Interesting. So at some point there's going to be a turn off to my right, and I want to go left. Yeah. Interesting. Where does this lead? I'm just going to poke my head down here real fast and then turn around and go back left after I explore it for a sec. This cave is so treacherous. Okay, that goes back up somehow. And I'm really hoping this is not the path I actually need to be on. I still have another flare if I need to use another flare. I'm pretty confident I can find... Oh, look, there's more coal. Nice. And a backpack. Pretty confident I can find more flares in the zone of contamination of all places. So if I used 2 flares to get back to where I was, it's fine. I will be okay. Alright, so in a moment, I should have a left turn available to me. Yep. Gonna get as far with this flare as I can. It's looking like we will have 8 to 9 hours to sleep once this is done. And again, the zone of contamination is one of the most built up zones in the entirety of the Long Dark. So it's exciting because we'll have lots of interior areas to kind of look through and explore. Am I really where I think I... Nice! Okay, cool. That was easier than I thought. We didn't have to use the other flare. I'm going to try and get within range of the cave exit here so that I can see. Yep, perfect. Absolutely beautiful. And there goes the flare. Can't ask for better timing. Alright, we're going to put this down. Oh, yeah, you know what? I lied. We could ask for better timing. Because we actually, if we're going to put the bedroll down in here, let me see if it lets me get away with putting it like here. It does. Amazing. That's much better. Because this is an interior cave, the temperature bonus is added the moment you actually, see it's 60 degrees, the moment you actually get into the cave. So I'm not super worried about that. Let's go ahead and eat some fresh venison. drink some water. It's 25 minutes of cave spelunking. My goodness. All right, so let's sleep for 9 hours. We're going to get about 8. The main thing, though, is that we're going to have just lots and lots of condition recovery. All right, now we can go out and check for cattails. I think one thing I want to go ahead and do while I have this zone kind of set up, or this particular cave set up in the way that I do, is we're going to drop this firewood here. I'm also going to go ahead and drop this newsprint. I still have these books that I need to read. I started reading one of these, I think. Yeah. So that needs 4 more hours. So does that one. And having those done will literally be a load off my shoulders. All right, we only have 50% condition, so not the best amount of recovery. But let's go back outside. Get out the rifle just in case. And we can pick some cattails. Grab another ruined torch. Chow down on some venison.
And this pack is getting kind of heavy.
All right, we're going to drop that just so that I'm not giving off any kind of a scent. Now, just because we didn't have predators when I got here doesn't mean that there won't be any around now, especially now that we have passed a considerable amount of time. It's worth noting that all the wildlife is going to be just as much in a different place here compared to the last time I was here as it has been everywhere else in this series so far. So I don't exactly know where to expect the wolves, but I guess one thing that you can say is because I've only been here once before, ever, my memory of where they were to begin with was already going to be kind of limited. So it's not as big of a surprise here to find wolves in new places. All right, I want to be very mindful of temperature. Because I do not want to lose any condition unnecessarily. I do kind of want to go up there and see if there's anything worth looking at up here, but I just don't want to walk right up on a bear or wolf here, which unlikely, but okay, let's step up here real quick. All right, doesn't seem that I can go much farther that way. Temperature is dropping fast. I do see more cattails up here, so I will remember that for the next time I come out here. But for now, let's go back down. It might be time to go ahead and read. You know, this is probably the best opportunity I've had in a long time to just hunker down, read those books, get it done, recover some condition in the meantime, sleep, repeat, and then never have to worry about it again. Because I really have been carrying around a veritable library for so much of this series. Okay, so the bedroll is right where I left it. All right, we are warm enough in here, thankfully. It still feels like 60 degrees. For those of you wondering how much that might shift, looks like it doesn't shift too much. Got some ketchup chips. We have some water. And yeah, let me go ahead and read. We should be able to read here. If we can't... if the game doesn't let me read, I'm going to be real annoyed. Nice. Okay, so we're going to finish one book. Lots of ruined torches. We'll look at those in a moment. Drop that. Nice. Archery level 2. Drink some water. We'll eat the rest of those ketchup chips. Have a couple of cattails just to keep the stomach topped off. I will need to probably make some more water before much longer. But first, as I try to find my way to the right tab, there we go. Yeah, let's go ahead and plug in 5 hours. We can get away with it. Looks like we might get the whole book in. Okay, we got 4 of 5. Not bad. Too dark to read. If we get an aurora, that will change. But for now, let's go ahead and harvest these sticks from the torches. That's less weight to carry around. We really will be considerably lighter by the time we leave this cave. This is nice. And there goes our encumbrance risk. The only downside to that is that walking around makes me less tired now. So, while we're still trying to recover condition, that's actually not ideal. Alright, we're going to drop that because we don't need it. Okay, and now I suppose let's go ahead and drink some more water. 0.25 gallons. We're going to sleep for about 5 hours. I'm hoping to wake up to an aurora here. Fingers crossed. Nope. No aurora. So we will not have the ability to read by aurora light, unfortunately. But what I will do is step outside. Oh wow. Super dark. Incredibly dark. What the heck? This zone is dark at night. And creepy. I mean, just that quiet waterfall sound in the background and no wind or sound of like pitter-pattering rabbits or even wolves. Ugh. Okay. Back inside. Well, that is unfortunate. Also need to repair my bedroll at some point. What else can I do? I don't really have anything else I can break down or spend time on without light. I might be able to prepare some burdock. Yep, let's do that. This is actually passing a decent amount of time. Almost a couple of hours. And I probably could use some bandages, so let's go ahead and go for 40 minutes making some of those from the cloth that I'm carrying. It's been a while. Okay. Well, now I suppose we can sleep for another little while. We don't have a ton of time. I guess I'll pass time for 3 hours and then sleep. So we'll get some passive condition recovery for a second. The sun will come up. Matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? Yeah, I'm going to keep reading first. I want to have this done before I end this episode. If I can. If that's not too unreasonable to ask of the game. So let's try this. We're going to read this one. And then we have 4 hours in the gunsmithing book to read. Let me triple check my meters. Yeah, we're good. Okay, that's 2, 3, 4. And then we have the fishing book. And that's it. Level 2 gunsmithing, very nice. So for those of you wondering, what's the point of reading the gunsmithing manuals in advance, given that it's something you can only do, when you're near the workbenches? Trust me, having your gunsmithing up as high as possible before you ever even have to use a workbench is the strategy. That's kind of what you want to do. because the quality of ammunition that you make when you are a poor gunsmith, it's just dangerous. It's not just that it's not as lethal to other creatures, it's more lethal to you. So that's something to keep in mind. Foggy out here. Let's go ahead and eat the rest of this. We will need... Too full to eat. Really? Okay. So there was more of that steak left than I thought. We will need water soon. That is pretty much happening. Matter of fact, we need water now. We can start a fire here in the cave. Let's see what I've got fire-wise. Yeah.
This pack is getting kind of heavy.
It'd be nice if I could use the magnifying lens, but no, doesn't work like that. All right, so the gunsmithing book, and then that's 100% fire starting chance. We'll take that. Definitely want to finish this reading so that we're not doing anything too sedentary right at the beginning of the next episode. That just seems like if it's avoidable, we can avoid it. So let's do that. I really wish they would fix this inventory bug. I really, really wish they would. Please. Please, Hinterland. Fix the fire starting screen. Like the last several updates, every single time I'm like, oh, maybe they finally fixed it. Maybe it's better now. No, it's not. It's definitely not. All right, so we got 5 hours on this. Okay. If I read 1 hour, that water will probably be almost boiled off. It might disappear right here. Oh no. Actually, we're good. Still at half an hour. Good to know. So we can go ahead and start another round then. And yeah, what we'll do is just go for another hour. Gotta be careful not to absent-mindedly like tick the number up because I feel like I can. All right, potable water. We're gonna drink that. Let's go ahead while we have the fire and while we have this safe space for storing water, we're just going to keep making some. That way we can come back here and grab more water if we're able to. All right, we can do this one more time after this.
I'm not sure I can carry much more.
That's because you can't. 2 hours, 33 minutes left on the fire. This is kind of perfectly timed. And this is the very last skill hour for our reading. Who's excited? Let's go ahead and get that done. Grab the potable water from both of these containers. I will go ahead and grab some more torches from this fire, so that we don't waste everything we just poured into it. Ah, not really any good ones so far, but maybe we'll get lucky. That's a little better. Not too bad. That's terrible. That's what I get for saying things out loud. There we go. All right. There's our grand finale. So what we can do... We've got 2.5 gallons of water. 21 pounds of water on me. That is unnecessary. We're going to stand right here. Well, actually what I'm going to do is... Ooh, let me not put the water in a spot where I wouldn't be able to pick it up. That's something to be mindful of, for sure. I don't want stuff to drop through the world, because that has been happening. I would hate to lose all this water, but we're going to drop all that. I'm going to trust that the game works the way that it should at the moment. And now we're going to sleep for 8 hours straight once again. Watch us get an aurora as we as we wake up here. That would be perfectly timed. Yeah, I don't think there is one. But that's a nice stopping point for this episode. In the next one, I'm going to head back out into the zone of contamination, actually find some of the industrial centers, look for some more ammunition for my rifle. That's honestly a pretty high priority at the moment. But also just see what the zone has in store now that we are feeling a little bit better condition-wise. We're not perfect, but we're much better than we were at the end of the last one, and things are a little bit less tense. So, hey, baby steps. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to follow along. For early episodes, channel emotes, and member badges, look for the join button. New episodes drop every other day at 1 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, and comments are always welcome. Leave your thoughts below, and I'll see you next time.